We're living.
We're live.
And we're live.
We're live. Happy Fez Friday, everyone. It is Friday, October 4th. My name's Jason. I'll be your Fezmonger. I am once again joined by the Fezmademoiselle Ruth. We're back in the studio. Con season is done, so I'm very excited about that. So this week has been mostly, let's back up a little bit. Last weekend, we were at the Gaslight Steampunk Expo down in San Diego. We had a great time. It's one of the small shows that overperforms. A lot of creativity, a lot of great people, had a lot of good conversations. A number of Patreon members were there. Kayla came by and joined in, just happened to be there, joining in on the live stream. So that was a lot of fun. And we will get into details on that later on. After that, of course, Monday was mostly recovery day. And now it's that awkward transition from con season to the rest of the year. So it's kind of a weird thing for me. This is usually when I struggle with like just making that transition. Psychologically, I kind of struggle with shifting gears and going from constantly planning for shows to prepping for holidays and all of that stuff. So that's kind of where we're at. We're at that awkward phase between shows and the holiday. And, yeah, exactly. Shift. The key things there, the embroidery machines are going through maintenance. Ed is coming back from the shop. He's been in a shop for 2 weeks, getting totally torn apart and rebuilt. Ed is our original embroidery machine. He has gone through hours and hours of service. So it's kind of amazing. But they totally dismantled him and replaced whatever needed to be replaced. So hopefully he comes back to us in peak condition and is ready to get to work.
How old is Ed?
Ed has been around at least since 2005, 2006, I think.
Wow.
I think it might have been 2005 or 6 is when I picked him up.
Wow.
So he's from the very beginnings of Fezorama. And so next, Gort, our 10 needle, is going into the shop. 10 needles are a little bit more complicated to maintain, and the place that we were working with wasn't really doing that great of a job. So we were taking him to this new shop and having him serviced. He was kind of working. He would just cause problems, tension problems, or one of the needles timing would be out. So he's going into the shop this week. A little bit awkward because he's my 10 needle machine that I test all the more complicated designs on. So I have stuff I want to work on, but it really depends on how fast we can get Gort back from the shop so that I can run them. Because some of the stuff I want to do is more than 6 colors. We also have Will, who is a very old 6-color machine that we've been keeping running. We got him used from a friend, so he'll be running simple stuff right now. And then the only other machine tucked away in the back, which you can't see, is Kronos. And he's kind of set up for a specific color range because we have a bunch of designs that use the same colors. Currently, we'll probably be changing that for the next year. But so we kind of have him preset with a bunch of different designs, and any design that is using those colors kind of just goes straight to Kronos. There's a few extra steps to run Kronos because he's a different format than the other machines. So I have to set up the file in a different file format for him. It's not a huge deal, but it takes a little bit of planning, and that's why if I know the colors, it's a lot easier just to keep those colors running on him. And there's a certain number of colors I use a lot of. So he's got most of the greens and teals constantly set up on him, and that covers a lot of those designs like the Hari Tiki, the Cthulhu, the Blue Squid, things like that. We're all kind of working in that same color palette. So they were running on him, and Gort was taking the other 10 needle designs. Anyway, so it's a lot of cleaning, a lot of maintenance, and a lot of reorganization happening right now. So that's kind of where we are this week. I will be starting to work on new stuff, especially work on an October badge for the Patreon, get some of the more creative stuff going in this next month. The poll is closed. Last week's Sunday survey was about what you guys want to see as far as produced video series, and about half of the votes were for sewing tutorial stuff. So we're going to get started on those hopefully by the end of the month. We will start with some of the simpler stuff, and there'll probably be a few more polls to go in to see what specifically you guys would be interested in. I'm going to start this out on a fairly basic level, so I'm going to assume that I'm going to try to set this up so anybody from any level of sewing skill can jump in, including somebody who's never bothered to sew before. And we'll focus more on the pattern making and getting that stuff right, which is usually the thing that people kind of ignore in tutorials and when they were sharing patterns. So I'll be inserting a lot of advanced skill stuff that is not terribly difficult, but walk you step by step through a process. And the idea is that as we're teaching different techniques and teaching sewing stuff, eventually you'll have a completed garment out of it. So it's just a decision of where we want to start. I have a number of ideas for garments that all share similar basic techniques. So it's just a matter of figuring out where we want to start with it and how big we want to go in the beginning, that kind of thing. So look for that to happen. Hopefully we'll get rolling on those in the next month. I will be talking with a couple of our video friends, people who have experience directing and shooting videos, to see what kind of assistance they can provide so that we can focus on the pattern making and sewing stuff.
Woo.
So that is one of the things up in the air. The other thing that I did start messing around with yesterday is Minecraft. I've been threatening to play Minecraft with you guys for a while now. It is now October, which is a great time just to jump into a video game that is mostly zombies. So it kind of still fits the theme. It'll be a very casual gaming scenario. So I will be setting up a realm, a server that's specifically for us. So it's a persistent world that you'll be able to jump in whenever you have the time and mine and craft and build and play. And we will also plan group gaming sessions where we'll all jump on live and get into chats and kind of just socialize within the game world. I think it'll be a really fun way. I just need it. I need something to kind of unwind. So Maya and I installed it on the computers yesterday. I had been playing around with custom skins because, of course, that's always about the art for me. And Maya and I played for like an hour yesterday just to kind of make sure everything was working and get used to the controls. And Maya's never played before, so she was getting used to how the game plays. But in the next couple of days, I plan to set up a realm for us so that we can all just jump in. I'll share it. All that's going to happen, all the gaming stuff is going to happen on the Discord channel. So if you haven't joined the Discord yet, if you are a Fez enthusiast or a Fezzerati or a Fezzerati X5, make sure that you join the Discord. I did post a couple of posts yesterday. As I posted about how to set up the Discord, how to get Discord attached to your Patreon account. I also I covered the basics of the Minecraft stuff. So if you are curious, if you want to join us on that, now is the time. So you can see the post yesterday on the Minecraft thing. We are playing the Java edition, so that is for desktop computers, PC, Mac, or Linux. If you have a decent Chromebook, you can have Linux running on that. So you'll be able to play on any of those devices. It doesn't take a lot. It plays in a very small window. So you don't have to have a cutting-edge gaming system to play this game. If you want to join in on the live stuff, I do recommend headsets. You can either use a headset with your computer, or you can use the Discord app on your phone and just run it through your phone's headset. But that way we can talk to each other while we're in-game, in-world, and socializing. So if you haven't done so recently, make sure you log into the Discord and take a look at the gaming channel, and we'll start planning a time when we're available to sit down and have some fun. So I won't be posting a whole lot of stuff about Minecraft on the Patreon, assuming that most people on the Patreon aren't terribly interested in the game. So unless that changes, everything's going to happen over on the Discord channel. Are you going to join us in the Minecraft gaming?
Put her
on the spot.
I don't know. I'm not much of a gamer.
It's not much of a game. It's a very simple, very simple, fun thing to do. So, but that'll be happening. We're already playing. Maya and I were just playing solo games yesterday, and I immediately wanted to jump into a realm and help her out directly. So we will be setting up that realm probably this weekend and start just messing around with it. The idea is that this first realm will probably be a temporary realm until we decide. One of our members, Deech, has experience hosting Minecraft, so maybe in the future he'll set up a bigger realm for us, and we'll just reboot the whole thing. Chris is chiming in that you
I
that
see
you
that.
need to do that.
Instigator.
We have Doug, we have Chris watching live with us and chipping in here. So that's the Minecraft stuff. Like I said, I'll probably move on. I'll just post images and whatnot as we go forward on that. Let's see. We still have one more show to do this year, but that's not until December. So this is kind of a weird, like I have nearly 2 months to plan for this pop-up. There's some, it's kind of a weird thing because I want to do a bunch of stuff for it, but I've never done this show before, so I'm not entirely certain
Do you know of
what we
anyone
need to
else
do.
that has done
I mean, I've talked to other people who've done the show, but as far as like where our booth would be, it's in an Easy Up. I want to do some new decorations for the Easy Up, but I don't know if I should get too carried away on this first show because I don't know what load in and load out is and that kind of thing. So I'm still kind of on the fence trying to figure out what I want to do. I'm not sure if our current shelf situation that we use in the indoor booths will be ideal for the outdoor booth. So I might shift to our smaller shelves that we used way back in the day, our old IKEA shelves. I'm trying to figure out how to do a faster load in, load out. So if I can have shelves prepped in the car
that we just pull out?
that we just pull out and we don't have to do all of the fezzes, but I don't know if that's feasible. So that's something I'm gonna be looking at over the next month. And I might share some of those projects. I have a bunch of art projects that I want to do, and I've started a list of craft projects that I'd like to do. Gaslight was very inspirational, and it looks like we might be adding a steampunk show up in the Bay Area in March. So I don't know.
Our empty month. Isn't that our empty month now?
No, of course it's not our empty month. Why would we add a show to our empty month? That simply doesn't happen. It will be the weekend after Emerald City Comic Con.
Oh my gosh.
You know, because that's sensible.
So the only free weekend we have that month? I'm trying to figure out what month it is.
March is the one that comes after February. So it's our first month of shows. Emerald City will be our first show. And then it looks like while we're driving back from Seattle, we might be stopping in the Bay Area to do a steampunk show before we get home. So that'll be like a 2-week trek instead of just the normal week and a half trek. And then April, aside from a wedding, I'm not doing any shows in April because they all moved to May to make that nice and convenient. And then 3 shows in a row in May, one of which, ironically, is at the same hotel as the steampunk show is in March. So we have 2 shows booked or looking to be booked in the Bay Area. So yes, Chris, we will probably be calling you guys for crash pad and assistance. So we will have more information on that. We haven't paid, so unless we've paid for the show, I don't like to.
It doesn't exist.
It's it's penciled into the calendar behind us. But that's the first one, and yeah, so it's still a little early to get those booked. So it's a steampunk show, and then the second one in the end of May is a tabletop gaming show. But they're both in like the Burlingame area, I believe. So we'll see. So we did the steampunk show last week. Ruth did a lot of costumes, was very snazzy dressed up there. We had a lot of fun at this show, and it was really inspirational. So it's a small show. They had to move hotels. There's a lot of growing pain stuff, but ultimately I came back really wanting to create stuff. Unlike most shows, I saw places that I like, oh, I could do this for that, and I could like fit in more socially instead of just being concerned with the vending. We popped out to the ball, did a little dancing. We went over to karaoke, did a little singing. That was a lot of fun, and
might be planning something for next
I'm
year.
hopeful that they'll be able to do it again next year because I have a bunch of art projects that I'd love to tie into that. So that stuff. Stay tuned. That's stuff that I definitely want to try to tackle, some of it in the next few months, because I realized if I push anything off too far, if I think, oh, that's okay, we will be able to take care of it in January. January, we tend to be really busy, and then next thing we know, we're at a show, and I've lost my window of opportunity for just fun, creative stuff. So right now, I'm in that transitional phase. I spent a few days cleaning, reorganizing, started Inktober. You guys have been seeing the sketch cards for those. I've cleared my shelves, so I have a private order that is being embroidered today. That'll be wrapped up today. So I have some more fezzes to sew for private orders. And then I think I've cleared my shelf. The next step is to go through all of our current designs and decide what's being retired. The tiki stuff will not be, is not under the gun necessarily. There's a few designs I'm thinking of doing new versions of. But we do have a tiki show in the 1st of December. So that's what I'm planning for. So I'll be restocking tiki stuff primarily and preparing the holiday stuff, which is all made to order. I don't stock those up necessarily. So I won't be bringing Christmas designs to the tiki show. Most likely everything will be made to order. So then it's just a matter of going through what we've been bringing to shows over the last 2 years and decide what's being retired. And there's a lot of designs that have stayed on the shelves that have kind of gone past their year and a half that I normally use. So the Cthulhu, the Mystic Eye, Kraken and Squid. There's a couple like Crossbones I've already retired. The Monsters, the Loyal Lords of the Lagoon, and the Fiends. Both are probably gonna be retired. So there's gonna be a lot of new stuff happening this year. I'm kind of shifting my focus. In the last few years, I've tried to create stuff specifically for each event's theme, and it's worked okay. But the problem we always have is whenever we do a themed event, the first person to walk up to the booth is asking about a design that's not part of that theme. Yeah. So we go to Son of Monsterpalooza, the first person is asking about tiki designs.
And true to form, the very first person who had a question about the fezzes, well, other than actually, truth be known, we were kind of inundated with sales from the get-go, which was very nice. But the first person to ask a question about do you have was Sons of the Desert.
Yeah, so if you're coming to a show, the answer is if there's something specific you want to see, you need to tell us beforehand. I'm not bringing that to the show. Odds are. So definitely hadn't planned to bring a bunch of tiki stuff. I did bring a few tiki designs to Son of Monsterpalooza, but they wanted one of the other tiki designs. Same thing happened to us at Gaslight. So it always seems to happen. So I think I'm going to back away from my obsession with trying to keep everything in theme, in world theme. So I will be bringing stuff that's not necessarily horror to a horror show or not necessarily steampunk to a steampunk show in the next year. So there'll be a lot of new stuff, but probably a little bit smaller range of designs to pull from as we prepare for the 2020 season. So that's kind of where and you can tell just by watching this, it's a little bit of a scattershot right now. So my first half of October is usually really stressful for me because I just don't cope well with that shifting gears of constantly sewing, and then having to shift to being more open design kind of thing. I have a few weeks before I have to panic about Christmas designs. I have ideas for what I want to do for the Christmas designs this year. I'd like to get a Halloween design squeezed in this month, but like I said, anything I've come up with so far requires more than 6 threads. So I'm kind of hopeful that Gort will be in and out of the shop really quick this week. Yeah. If he is, I'll be able to jump on that and get something out pretty quick. So as far as the website's concerned, I will be making announcements on what designs are retiring and giving them like a last call, like a 1-week amnesty, so that we can kind of hit that point and say, okay, if you wanted to miss a guy and didn't get one, this is your last chance. Doug is writing in, so what is the 100 patron thing, ... We're not at 100 patrons. So I can't really answer that.
We cannot reveal.
So tell your friends. We are like 12 people away from 100 patrons. So that actually kind of transitions me into something. I've been really putting off promoting the Patreon page for the entire year that this thing's been going on. So that is one of the things that's on my list of stuff to get done, is to create some new logo work for the Patreon, create some business cards specifically for the Patreon and have those printed out. I want to create, I have an idea I've talked about before that I can finally spend some time on making a patch that is actually a pocket for business cards, so that those of you who've been making your like Fezzorama jackets or collecting your badges on a shirt or a jacket could have a like shoulder pouch, a shoulder pocket to hold Patreon or your own business cards, of course. But business cards, so if somebody's asking, you can share it. And then you guys will be able to help promote what we're doing here. Also, I feel like when we start getting these tutorial videos together, that'll give us more of a focus of what it is I'm doing on this channel, and hopefully be able to draw in more people that way. Once we hit that, the 100 thing that I've been alluding to, this is the project that I was thinking about doing, realized I wasn't prepared to do it, was working on how I could get it done. Is it a Kickstarter? It's not really a Kickstarter. It's going to be a longer, slower process than that. And that's what led me to Patreon, thinking I could share it all on the Patreon and keep it like in-house so that it doesn't go viral and scale outside of what I can handle. It is a nearly complete unknown for me. So it is still something that I'm terrified about doing, but I want to do it. So if I hit 100, I will start talking about it, and I will start pushing forward on the mechanical part of it, like buying equipment and stuff like that, and trying to figure out how I'm going to set up everything and build what I need to build for this process. And then in the end, it will create stuff that you can have. So it is almost like creating a new company in that sense, or a new whole thing. It'll be outside of what Fezarama does. It is outside of what I currently do. It is within something I have experience with in the past. But yeah, so anyway, the 100 thing is a big deal for me. Also, the 111, the 111 patrons badge, I will get concept art together for that. So that is coming up. And hopefully we'll be able to hit that before the end of the year, if we have any luck. It just, our numbers will always fluctuate because end of every month, if people haven't renewed their credit card information, they get booted. So, you know, I lose a few people, gain a few people, and lose a few people every month. So that's just sort of the nature of Patreon system, because we're not going to come knocking down your door to force you to re-up for another $1 a month. So
Speak for yourself.
So that's, yeah. So to answer your question, I will be getting back on the badge goals and sharing more artwork for that as well. I did share the first Inktober card of the month that I shared on Tuesday was a rendition of a concept I have for a Fez that would be challenging. So that will be that'll be interesting to see how that if Gort gets back in time, that I can really try to tackle that design. And I kind of want to do a Halloween themed badge for everybody as well. Ooh. So we will see, maybe more than one. I don't know, but we will see. That is stuff that I'm still, like I said, shifting the gears. This place is still kind of a mess. The booth needs to be cleaned up. We just finally finished unloading the car. So the booth needs to be cleaned up, packed away. I need to reorganize my storage. It is a massive pile of boxes over there. We have like 3 boxes of the basket cases that I need to process. They've just been sitting there waiting for me to work on. So there's a lot of little projects kind of floating around. So now that we're not making hundreds of Fezes at a time, we have other stuff that we can kind of churn through and process. I do want to do more 3D sculpture for the tassel caps.
I was just going to say.
Yeah. I want to get some new, yes, Ruth has been requesting specific tassel caps. So I want to get some new tassel caps done in the next couple months. And I do want to do some more wax sculpture stuff so that we can have more bronze pieces done.
Oh, that would be cool.
For the next year. Of course, that's with our friends, Badali Jewelry. That's something I need to get done early enough so that they have time to produce them. So even if I get it sculpted before the end of the year, I probably wouldn't see any new bronze stuff until Emerald City. So that's kind of how I've done it in the past. And I didn't really do a lot with the jewelry stuff last year. So I want to try to kind of up that and get a few more jewelry pieces in there. Oh, also, I do plan to bring that tiki skull back that was used in the Rakshasa limited edition. So that will be coming back in a new form for a production run. And that is planning to be one of our production models for the next year. Nice. And I'd like to get that produced and ready to go for December. So you will see some new tiki stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks as we prepare for Tiki Land Trading in Santa Ana, December 1st. I have to go over my notes. I don't remember what is returning from last year's holidays, the holiday designs happen. They come back for 2 years. I think I'm on a new Krampus this year.
You are on a new Krampus.
Oh, dear God. Okay, so new Krampus this year. I have another design that has been on my list for a while that I do want to tackle. Probably bring back the wreath from last year. That was fun. I'll have those. New Krampus means new Krampus horns. Because if I do a Krampus and I don't release a Krampus horn chapeau, people kind of have a hissy fit. So there'll be some new Krampus stuff. All of that launches in November, which means towards the end of the month, we will be sharing concepts and tests and all of that stuff. And then we have something going on.
We do.
In like what, a week?
Not a week.
Okay.
Not a week. Oh God, no. Whew, heart attack.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. Over the weekend of the 19th, Maya and I will be joining Ruth on her annual pilgrimage to Camp Swing in the Mendocino. Is it like the
Mendocino
Redwoods?
Woodlands, yeah.
Yeah.
So you go up north, past San Francisco, along the one. Once you hit Mendocino, you take a right into the Redwoods for about 45 minutes because it's dirt roads.
It's a long, long drive. So Ruth has been doing this Camp Swing for how many years now?
I did the very first one 23 years ago.
Holy crap. So
Yeah.
she's been there from the beginning. And I've known her the entire time. So I've always heard about this, never thought to go. And then this year I realized the odds of me going are getting less and less every year. So if we're ever going to do it, we need to just decide to do it. So Maya and I decided to just jump in. We're going to go up. It's a weekend camping at a Works Progress Administration campground, which I have a fascination with.
It's gorgeous.
And it's swing dancing and socializing for about like 150 people.
I don't even know
I
how
think
many
it's
people.
like that many,
Approximately.
somewhere around there.
Small. And
Yeah.
one of the cool things about this is that other dance weekends I've gone to, you stay at a hotel, or if you live nearby, maybe you stay at your house, or you have some friends crashing at your place, or you're crashing at a friend's house. Different people stay at different places. Different people eat at different places. So it's, it's very, people, you stay in your group.
Little cliques. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, everyone eats in the same place. Everyone dances in the same place. We're all in this one campground, so the socialization factor is awesome.
Do you get cell signal there?
Yes.
Okay.
Not everyone does.
We should be okay.
I do.
Yeah. So, okay.
It depends
That's
on your
because
provider.
like the cabins that we're staying in have no power.
Yeah.
We will be
The
using
cell
our
signal
electricity.
can be spotty. So it depends upon your provider. It depends upon,
Right.
your phone and various other things.
So we might be silent that weekend, or we might be able to eke out a few posts while we're out there. But this is supposedly this is our like a little vacation unwind. So we will be doing that in 2 weeks. So there will be a live stream again next week on this stuff.
I just want to say there's still spaces open. So if you like swing dancing, or even just want to learn how to swing dance, this place is amazing, and they have dance lessons for everywhere from beginner to advanced.
And they do a bunch of different dance forms because I've looked over past years, and not just swing dancing, but they also had hula, they've had tap, they've got a bunch of different styles.
Last year I took lessons on how to do the Thriller dance.
So that's something that we have to start discussing our plans for go up there. And I'm going to bring video equipment with me, the little travel, the pocket, and I will try to shoot some video while we're there. So at least I can share what the campgrounds look like and the forest. I think that'll be really cool. So I'm really excited to do something. It'll be weird because it'll be the first time I'm doing traveling where we're not short of going to a wedding. We're not, we're just traveling and then doing something entirely different than what we normally do. So that'll be a lot of fun. So that's pretty much it. Do you have anything going on?
Well, my new quarter starts in less than a week, which is fine. I've taught this before, whatever. So yeah, next Wednesday, my new quarter starts. Other than that, it's Halloween, or it's Halloween month. So,
she's a month. She's more than a month of Halloween.
if I can help it. I have already started decorating my yard. My menagerie of skeletal creatures has come out to play. I am, either when I get home on Saturday night or maybe Sunday, I'm going to put up my variety of jack-o'-lanterns and figure out what else I want to do with the front yard and the dolls. Dolls.
And we need to go to Trader Joe's and get everything that has pumpkin in it.
Oh yeah.
And just go nuts.
Yeah.
So that definitely, because we postponed that a little bit. Although when in San Diego, I started buying the pumpkin chips. Yeah. The pumpkin corn chips, which are my favorite
If you
thing.
like corn chips, and if you don't dislike pumpkin, just go out and get these. Or
Trader
if you live in
Joe's.
our area, don't, because we
don't buy my pumpkin
because
chips.
they do have spice in them. They've got nutmeg. I think they've got cinnamon. They've got black pepper. They are not sweet. They are savory and they are delicious.
But they work surprisingly well with the dark chocolate hummus that Trader Joe's sells. Trust me on it. It's weird, but those pumpkin chips make the dark chocolate hummus so much better. Anyway, there was something else I wanted to mention, and I completely. Oh, I know. Okay, let you go. You go.
All right. So I wanted to go revisit the subject of patches because I wanted to mention that we've been toying with the idea of making I don't know how to say, like, activity related or reward patches, kind of
like your merit.
Right, like merit patches, so that you would have the opportunity to buy a patch if you say. A specific patch if you came to visit us at a show.
So my goal next year is to have a specific badge every year that is only available at the booth that you'll have to do a reservation for. So you have to let me know that you're going to be coming to the show. It's cool if you reserve one and then don't show up if something happens. They just don't surprise me at the booth because I probably won't have one for you. But that is one thing that I definitely want to do. And as we start doing these activity stuff like the Minecraft and the sewing tutorials, I want to do merit badges for those as well. So if you participate in that stuff, I want to have some kind of weird thing to go with that.
And who knows, we might even do crazy things like on this day, do this thing to celebrate this weird thing that no one knows about.
Yeah, so that's something that I definitely want to get into. There's some other projects. There's one very special one that I have been toying with, and it stems from an idea I had ages ago, and I've been trying to figure out how I can do it. And I think I figured out a good way to do it this year, and it's going to be a special thing for Fezzerati members. And I'm going to make a whole tutorial video, kind of walkthrough of how I'm building these things and then sharing them. So there's a bunch of creative stuff that I want to get to that has nothing to do with embroidery or sewing. What? I know.
The hell
yeah, it's crazy because I didn't study sewing in college. I studied costume crafts, which is millinery and shoes and armor. So there's things like that I kind of want to start getting into.
Let's make some armor.
Let's make some armor.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think we've just rambled on enough for today. We should probably start doing actual work. So thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank the guys for coming in and commenting live, and everyone who's watching live today, and everyone who takes the time to watch this stuff later.
And thank you, Doug, for sharing the link.
Yes, thank you, Doug, for sharing that link. Please drop comments down below if you are enjoying our live stuff. Just a kind of a recap, we had approximately 30 people respond to last week's Survey Sunday. Out of 88 is, I guess, typical for Americans.
I would like to mention that I did not actually respond because it felt a little self-serving to go, I want to make videos about it.
And you're never self-serving.
No.
So please chip in and just throw down a comment or a like on these things so I know what to put the focus on, like what to lean into if there's things that you like, things that you don't like. The one thing I did want to bring up is we will be sitting down and start recording our podcast now that the con season is over. I have 5 or 6 interviews that I've been stockpiling. I need to edit through. But the idea is that we'll start with a simple podcast, and then we'll do a recap of the year and talk about all of the shows. Might be a really long podcast. One of my interviews that I did at TikiCon is a really long conversation. I'm trying to figure out how I can chop that thing up. But you will be getting the podcast this month. very soon. And we're just going to kind of feel it out in the beginning to figure out what works. And I will be reaching out to some people outside of the con groups and talking to other creatives about what their process is and what they do, and just kind of share the process of being creative with you guys. So look for that. It will be through the Patreon page. You will have a feed that you can subscribe to from your podcasting apps in Patreon, so that you'll be able to just get them straight from whatever podcasting app you choose to use, or inside the Patreon app, or simply by clicking on the posts in the Patreon. So that will be happening very soon, in the next week or two. Cool. We will start rolling out some simple ones and see how that goes. I think that's pretty much it for today. Not too bad. So thanks again for tuning in. I hope everyone out there has a great weekend, and I will see you on the Patreon. I'll see you in Minecraft. We're going to make her have some fun. All right.
Don't make me have fun.
Never. I will see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye. Yes, end.